bit about the working conditions in this environment, which you can imagine is pretty horrific. So let's start with right at the front of the aircraft, right in the nose. You'll get the bomb aimer's position. He's the lower man who looks through the clear view panel. He's only occupied for about the last 2 minutes of the bomb run into the target. He effectively takes control of the flying of the aircraft to line the aircraft up by giving instructions to the pilot over the target. When he's dropped the bombs, his work is finished. The bomb bay here, this is the bomb bay here, and it extends right forward. It's 33 feet long. That's a big bomb bay. That's the relic of the Avro Lancaster, the large bomb bay. The bomb aimer's laying forward, and he's got a sophisticated bomb sight. He's looking through the clear view panel. He's looking at the sophisticated bomb sight, and he's got an instrument on his right-hand side whereby he could select the way in which the bombs are released, either singly or in a string of bombs, or the whole lot together. There'd be high explosive, there'd be blast bombs. They'd often carry a whole selection of different types of bombs, up to about 60. So as well as being the bomb aimer, he's also employed as a trained aerial gunnery operator. There's a set of guns up in the nose, so when he's not bomb aiming, he's working on his guns. Coming back this side, on this left-hand side of the aircraft, is the pilot seat. Now the Lancaster only ever flew with one pilot. Pilots were expensive and lengthy to train, and they worked out that it could fly effectively with one pilot. Mind you, if the pilot was hit, seriously injured or killed, you could pretty well say the aircraft was doomed. Sitting next to the pilot would have been the flight engineer, who I'm told had some knowledge of flying the aircraft, possibly in a straight and level attitude. I've done a lot of investigation to see if a flight engineer has ever brought an aircraft back to the UK in the event of the pilot being seriously injured or killed. I can't find any record, but he might have brought it back over the UK and allowing the crew to bail out at least. Final thing I'd like to say about the pilot, very often in Bomber Command, the pilots were non-commissioned officers. You'll see many occasions where the pilots were sergeants and flight sergeants. Other members of the crew, be it the navigator, flight engineer, could have been like a flying officer or pilot officer, which would outrank the sergeant pilot, but nevertheless the sergeant pilot was the captain and he had the final say on what went on in the aircraft. Moving back slightly from the flight engineer's position, who of course looked after all the mechanical aspects of the aircraft to see that the engines were performing satisfactorily and that the petrol was being moved from one tank to the other correctly, so he was busy all of the time. And then moving back from on the left hand side, you would have the navigator's bay, and again he would have been busy all the time navigating the aircraft out to mainland Europe to find the target, and also to find the route back home. Might have to change course due to weather over the continent, or even if enemy aircraft were about or ground-based flak was coming up. So he was another member of the crew who was busy all the time on the outward flight and the flight coming home. He actually worked in the bay just behind the pilot, and at each end of his bay would have been a curtain so that could be screened off so that he could have a small amount of white light. The only white light allowable on the aircraft from which to operate his charts and his navigation equipment. The rest of the aircraft was pretty well in complete darkness, save for these little lights here which had a small red glow. So it was very difficult to move about the aircraft. Behind the navigator on this side would have been the radio operator. He was busy intermittently, and when he wasn't attending to the radio signals coming in, he would also have been trained as an aerial gunner as well, so he had a dual job rather like the bomb aimer. Moving back to here, this is the mid-upper gunner's turret. He also had a little bit of protection in the form of some armour plating behind the seat. He would spend many hours up in the seat, bearing in mind that the missions could last 6 to 7 hours outward and inward over mainland Europe. The final member of the crew would have been in the tail of the aircraft. If you look behind you, you will see the tail gunner's position. A very cramped, lonely, cold position. So small, in fact, that the tail gunner could only get into that turret without wearing his parachute. The parachute was clipped to the side of the fuselage. If the aircraft was stricken, he would have to come out of the turret, clip the parachute on, briefly get back in the turret, rotate the turret round, and then he would drop out into space. That was the only way he could get out of the aircraft quickly. Now let's have a little talk about the conditions that they operated this aircraft. As you know, it was a night bomber. So that's the reason for flying most of this aircraft in complete darkness. It would have been very cold because a lot of the bombing was done from about 20,000 feet. So if you touch the metal, your hand would have probably stuck to it because you're looking at temperatures of about 15 to 20 degrees below freezing. Very noisy because of the 4 engines. If you unplug your intercom set for moving about the aircraft, if I was speaking to you from here to where you are, you wouldn't hear what I was saying due to the noise of the 4 engines. Also very vulnerable, as we said before. Anything coming through in the form of enemy shells and machine gun fire would pierce straight through the skin of this aircraft, and anybody in the way would certainly have been killed. As I said before, this is the environment in which 7 men, many nights on the run, 7 men lived, worked and often died together.